already. Pivot. What makes power? With the shin in it. I kick with the shin bone. I want you to do 10, or this one we're going to do, let's just take turns. Because I penetrate through the target, I push off the target. I don't do this, I don't go. Not for this kick. So I hit him as soon as the impact is felt. Watch what my hips do. They kind of reverse. Does that make sense at all? Push off of it. All right. If your foot is facing this way when you kick, where's the power arc at? Straight ahead. There's none. The power arc needs to be here. You want him to feel this kick here. Does that make sense? Yeah. So when I do the step, it's sometimes you'll hear it called a penetrating step because we penetrate through the target. Does that make sense? Sure. So when I'm here, I step to get momentum. Very, very fundamentally, this is how it looks. 1, 2. You see it? Not dynamic, but that's how it looks. So I step to get momentum. Now, when it hits the shin bone, on the way back, I bend it slightly, I put it down. Does that make sense? Sure. All right, here we go. So the way that I teach kicking is that we like to throw spins off of turns. This is how most people do that. They kick, and then there's the spin. That's beautiful. It works. I use it. This one's a little more, I think, discreet. So when I kick, it's already there. The kick's got to go back that direction anyway. So I use that. So I use it's already going. So I call it a touch and go. I don't plant. I did that one really slow. I touch and go with it. Does that make sense? Do it slow right now. Do it slow right now. One, touch, go. All right, here we go. Okay. Now, this is one of the things that's very unique to me. Now, other people do it. He does it. He don't even know he does it. I've been watching him do it for years. Let me ask a question. And I usually start class with this question. What is more powerful, a kick that's on the ground or a jump kick? What do you got? Who thinks a jump kick right here? Who thinks a kick that's on the ground right here? Very good. Yes, people think jump kicks because they see us demonstrated in demos and they see movies. But when we push off the earth, that's what makes power. Does that make sense? It's like a car. I got a pretty fast little sports car. I don't care how fast it is. If I put it on a block of ice, and I put a Pinto with a blown motor over here, and that thing's still gonna be. You get what I'm saying? So we push off the earth when we kick. That adds power. Next question. What's faster, a jump kick or a kick that's on the ground? Because the same thing that gives us power, it also gives us friction. Friction slows us down. I do both every kick I do. Watch. So I'm here. When I land, I plant and I push. I plant and push. Every kick's a jump kick. But I plant when I don't kick. I'm not in air when I kick. I'm planting and pushing. Look, all he does is just let me touch it. Okay? Slow. Top slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, if you spin and your hip starts to face the target, you'll always do this. Always. As soon as my rear, does that make sense? All right. Grandmaster Bob Horton told me this when I was blue belt. This was some of the best advice I ever received. I was having a horrible time with spinning, horrible time. And my mom used to drop me off at school. I was like a martial art addict, still in. But she would drop me off at school probably because she didn't want to, she wanted them to babysit me. So she dropped me off at 4, didn't pick me up until 9:30 every night. This was my life. And even in the kids program, I would just sit and watch the adult class. He let me in the adult program at 11 because he finally saw that I was determined. So at blue belt, I'll never forget. I wasn't getting it around fast enough. This is what he told me. And Grandmaster Horton has one arm really. His right arm is he had polio as a child. By the way, this is also his instructor also. So that's kind of how we met. We both started with the same guy. Although he started decades before me, right? So he told me this is what he did. He says, what I want you to do right now, he picked up that little arm. He goes, I want you to swing that arm. Don't even worry about the other arm. He says, swing it as fast as you can. he goes, and when you get good at that, shorten it up, just swing the elbow. When you get good at that, shorten it up, just swing the hip. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So, velocity is important. When you learn to cheat the velocity, that's when you be able to pull it off. Does that make sense?
Sure.
All right, go. So at first, do it slow. I like to teach this when first is trying to hit his whiskers. Just do it. All right, you don't need to get that close. Look, right back to starting spot. Right back to home plate. Your kick should always go back to where you started. In your what? Stance. Does that make sense? Because you're in a fight. That kick may not put it up. If you land with that kick, we come from a long line of spin heel kicks. If we hit you with it, we'll probably drop you. Or at least stun you. But the fight's not over unless you. Does that make sense?
Sir.
So, a good way to do this, he told me this a long time ago. When you spin heel kick, the kick does this. It goes here to here. Most people let it go way out there. That's when they're all balanced. Does that make sense? When it hits, it goes down to the stance, and as soon as it hits, I sock it forward. Does that make sense?
Sir.
So it's here, shock it forward. I know it's a little difficult to choose. That's another reason why the jump's important. Because it alleviates that friction of the shoe. Does that make sense?
Sir.
So be very careful with it. All right, here we go. Don't care if you fall. Don't worry about not hitting the target. Just throw it. If you throw it with fear, you'll never hit anything. Does that make sense? So just let it go. Who cares if you miss? Who cares if you fall? It's a padded forward. All right, go. I don't hit the knee. I hit right above it. It goes into it here. And I hit at an angle. Muscle has the same fibrous makeup of wood. When you chop a tree down, do you chop on it? Who's ever chopped a tree down? Somebody. Sometimes the seminars I ask and they're like, what's that? You know how to chainsaw? When you hit it, you don't chop on a plane, you chop at angles. Set the legs. To really get through the muscle, when I hit the leg, any outside to here of the leg, I hit down. Here around, all the way to the T-band, I hit up. So I hit down, up. Body can go horizontal or angled up. You rarely angle down on the body. Why? Let me keep the rib catch. If he catches it when I angle up, I can counter that. Does that make sense at all?
Sir.
All right. So when I go one, I'm trying to hit the sternum. Sternum to bladder is good. I pull back. I'm going. Look at that. Big short time. Look at the angle. If I stay here, two things are going to happen. One thing is I got to deal with this hand still. He's a good guy, and this guy he's going to punch me. So what I want to do is zone, just like a collie, I try to zone. Second thing that's going to happen if I do kick, I'm going to have to kick the common peroneal. Well, what's happening is, where's the common peroneal going? The more he twists. Harder for me to hit it. But if I zone, I can slam that thing. Now look what he did to stop that. He turned his muscle right brace. Does that make sense? All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, when I hit it, 3 things are going to happen. 1, he's going to buckle. Hope so. Good job. 2, he's going to shield it or check it. A good guy will. 3, he's going to step back to recover. The spin side and spin heel for when he steps back. Does that make sense?
Sir.
Spin heel especially, that's a reacher. In my younger days though, I could throw that thing from, I was hitting people with spin heel kicks from here, I can't do that anymore. But it's a reacher. When they're backing up, boom. Does that make sense?
Sir.
Sheesh.